In my 20s, I started to experience anxiety. I remember being in a college class and just feeling really nervous for no reason. It's almost like my vision got a little blurry or distorted and just was fearful. And I had no reason to be fearful. There was nothing wrong. And I also remember feeling depressed some during that era too. I remember just sort of like not wanting to talk to anyone or be around anybody for a few days at a time, and just walking with my head down. And something had shifted in me. And but other days I would feel completely fine and normal. And so my emotional state was like a roller coaster. And that made me suspicious of the days that I didn't feel good. I was like, there's got to be a solution for this. There's got to be a reason why this is happening, and I think I can fix it. And so I want to share with you what I've learned through that search for that solution, because I know it's a very human thing, and most people have some type of either anxiety or depression or just some type of emotional discomfort. And I've by no means figured this out. I'm not a enlightened spiritual master. There's plenty of people that are probably more at peace than me. But I do feel like I've learned something very powerful that I think could help anyone who wants to try it out. And so it all started from me reading a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And in the book, he talks about watching your thoughts. He talks about like, where do emotions come from? Like, if you're feeling nervous, like, where the hell did that even come from? And he says it comes from a thought. And the thought can happen so quick that you miss it. But there's some fearful thought about what might happen to you in the future. And it leads to and creates the emotion in the body. And so, by law of subtraction, you say, okay, the emotion is not the cause of the anxiety. It's not the core cause, because there's something that happens before that, which is the thought. And most of us, me included, are thinking all day, can't stop thinking, and we just are that voice in our head. But sometimes we're present too, and sometimes we're not thinking. And the whole book is essentially about the dichotomy between those two states. And it encouraged me to watch the thoughts. And it showed me that even though I might be immersed in thinking for a lot of the day, that's not actually who I am. It's not the truth of who any of us are. It's a very surface level kind of existence. And there's something a lot deeper than that, a deeper part of us that's really at peace. And if you've ever taken like a hot yoga class or meditated, and you've found that really peaceful spot, how many people have done that? I know I have. And when I do, like, I'm always like, so this was here all along. I had to go through a 90-minute power flow class to get here, but I feel very peaceful, very at ease. My mind is relaxed, not thinking. And, so I think all of us have experienced like a different dimension within ourselves, other than just this like mental noise, thinking, worrying kind of part of us. So anyways, like, what I wanted to share with you guys is that the main takeaway I had from that book is that the thinking is ultimately what leads to those emotions, the experience of those emotions. And the thinking does not have to have power over me or you. And the way that I detach from that and take power away from the thoughts so that they don't cause the emotions in the first place is to watch the thoughts. If you think about that, it's an interesting thought, because if you can observe your thoughts, then clearly there's two things going on. There's the thoughts, and then there's that which observes the thoughts. And so which of those is true? Which of those is the real you? Are you the thoughts, or are you that which sees the thoughts and observes the thoughts? Something to ponder. I know for me that just understanding that and experiencing that and feeling that, it definitely has reduced my experience of anxiety and depression. And when those things do happen, I at least feel like I know why they're happening. And there's no worse place to be, right, than like suffering and you don't know why it's happening. And that's like the scariest thing. It's like if you're anxious and fearful and you don't know how to stop it, it's other than like by taking a pill, right? So that's what works for me. And I still think a lot, but every single day I also have moments where I intentionally am being present and watching for thoughts to pop up and observing thoughts. And I have to say, it has made me experience things like peace or joy more often. I'm definitely not trying to act like I have everything figured out or I walk around in a state of bliss, because I definitely don't, right? I'm not the most qualified spiritual teacher, but at the same time, this really has worked for me. That book, The Power of Now, is still to this day the best book I've ever read, the most helpful book I've ever read. And I read it when I was 21 years old, and I'm 37 now. And it still is just at the forefront of my mind, those teachings, every single day. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that helps somebody today. And thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this show, if you're watching or listening on iTunes, and you could leave a review, it always helps with exposure. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys soon. Until then.